What is up, people of the world? How are you? Welcome back to another episode of Third Eye Cyphs. I'm your host, Natalia, and hey, welcome back. I skipped a week, guys. I'm so sorry I skipped a week, but you can't be mad at me because that was the first week I had ever skipped since I started, and that should be like a record breaker, honestly, because I don't know about anybody else, but for me personally, I do things and then I never really follow through. That's a bad habit of mine. I'm sorry. It's a terrible confession, but it is true. Don't be like me, guys. Follow through with what you say. I feel like I changed all of that when I watched Naruto, just because if you've ever watched Naruto, his main thing is I never go back on my word, and he's my idol, honestly. So he practices such great integrity, and it's an inspiration, honestly. So that's why I have him on my altar. I'm pretty much Naruto, guys. Yeah, but anyways, I skipped a week, guys, and the reason why was I was supposed to have, like I mentioned before in the episode before this, I was gonna pre-record last week's episode and then just have it, what do you call it? Not play, look at me, I'm at a loss for words. Whatever, air on the regular day, but the day I was supposed to pre-record it, which was the day before I was leaving to the East Coast, I got super sick, and I literally I was ready. I had a free day to pre-record the episode, and I was sick the whole time, in bed, could not move. Don't worry, I don't have the coronavirus. It was female issues, and yeah, I just didn't get to pre-record it, and then I was like, oh, maybe I could just, do a quick little thing on my phone while I'm in Pennsylvania, since I have the Anchor app on my phone, but it only records up to a half hour, and I wouldn't have said anything, honestly. I would have just been like, hey, so I'm here, and that's it. It wouldn't have been very entertaining. It would have been listening to an audio vlog or something. But yes, I did mention we were going to do a narcissism episode, and that is what we're going to do today. I am not a freaking licensed psychologist, psychiatrist, or anybody who went to college for psychology. I took a quarter, maybe 2 quarters of psychology my sophomore year of high school, and that was only 2 quarters of a whole year. And yeah, so that says that, but that's not my extent of psychological knowledge. I studied after high school. I studied psychology a lot on my own, specifically narcissism. For some reason, I was very drawn to the topic. I don't know why, honestly. And you guys want to hear a funny story before I get into anything? This was the year 2016, right? And I was exercising the law of attraction to the craziest of my ability, honestly. I feel that was just the universe showing me this is real, look what you can do. Because literally at the snap of my fingers, I could manifest anything. It was insane. You could still do that now, honestly. I just don't know why it was happening. Maybe I was more aware of it then. I don't know. It was weird. I feel it's not as crazy as it was then. And I don't know why. Maybe because I don't try. Maybe because I was trying to I think you know what? I think it was because I was intentionally exercising it so much, because I had just really discovered it, honestly. I knew about it, but I wasn't really exercising it. So I think I was purposely exercising it. Now I know it's there, and I'm very aware of my thoughts and my words and the law of attraction, but it's not I'm trying to all the time manifest stuff in my life, because I'm really not. But anyways, this year, that was the year that I was doing that. So I was getting very into psychology too, and narcissism. And I went with my dad one day to work. I had to wait for him to get out of work. So I was just waiting around in the city, and this is back in New York. And while he's getting out of work, we're walking to his car, and somebody threw out a ton of psychology books. And this is by NYU, right? This is in the lower side of Manhattan. Well, this is like actually like mid lower side, 'cause it's like 14th Street. It was around 14th Street, Union Square. And somebody threw out a bunch of psychology books, like textbooks from, like, you know, college textbooks, like even like teaching books, like from the teacher's perspective. And I was like, what the heck? So I just grabbed all of them because I was super into psychology, and, you know, I really wanted books on them. I just couldn't get the books for them. So I grabbed all these books, and when I grabbed them, I was like, man, I really wish, you know, there was a book on narcissism, because I don't, like, there were psychology books, but not a book specifically on narcissism. So anyways, we leave and we're driving, and then we go somewhere. I think we went to go shopping, right? This is like another part of Manhattan, and we park, and we're about to walk to the store we're about to shop at, and there's literally just a singular, like, a textbook, just one textbook, like in the middle, like right next to where we parked, and it was in large letters. It says Narcissism, and I almost screamed. I was like, what the hell? Like, come on, like, what are the freaking odds that I'm like, man, I really, like, I got all these psychology books, but I really wish I had one on narcissism. And then we go somewhere and there's like a golden, like, light shining on this book, and it's like, narcissism. I don't know, it was crazy. It was honestly crazy. Like, what, how does that happen? But anyways, yeah, I was very into narcissism. I had all these textbooks, and I would read a lot into it and watch a lot of videos on it. I really don't know why I was into this so much. But anyways, I'm going to be reading some notes that I took down. I kind of, you know, watched some videos, read some stuff, and marked down some stuff to teach you guys. And the reason why I want to talk about this, it's not very, you know, spiritual or esoteric, you know, it's more of a psychology thing, but it very much has to do with self-development and ego. Really, ego is such a big theme in here. And also how to identify somebody who is narcissistic in your life that can be draining you, or, you know, kind of just not letting you be the fullest of your potential, I guess you can say, or, you know, just kind of like ruining your environment, ruining your day, ruining your everything, really. And how maybe you can get out of these situations. Like, once you become aware of it, maybe you can intentionally try to take yourself out of these situations. So yes, that is what we'll be talking about today. I do have to go to work in maybe an hour, so I will try to make this as fast as possible, because I do have a good amount of notes. But first, as always, I'm going to draw a card for you, and I really liked doing the live card drawing that I did last time, so I'm gonna do that again today. I also got a tarot reading from my aunt while I was in Pennsylvania this past week, and it was awesome. I love the way she shuffled the cards, and yeah, my reading was so great, honestly. I'm not going to talk about it today, maybe ever. I might mention some things, like, like sometimes, but it's not, like, important for me to tell you, like, oh, I got this, and this is what's happening in my life, and blah, blah, blah. Like, we're not here to talk about me, okay, guys? Yes, I talk about me to, like, do relatable stories, and to, like, update you on stuff, but this is not the me podcast. Anyways, so I am going to be drawing a card. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would like to say before we start. No, that's it. Okay. I just like to make a marker for, like, you know, the beginning, the middle, and the end. I don't know. Anyways, let's begin, guys. Starting now. Okay. So, let me shuffle these cards for you guys. And, you know, I'm gonna give you some ASMR. Is that what it is? ASMR. I hope I don't drop the cards. Lovely universe, what would you like to tell my listeners today? What messages do you have for my lovely listeners, whoever's listening to this podcast? What do you have to tell them? What is the great message from the oh so wonderful spirits and universe and source and guides and everybody else who'd like to say something in this situation? Wait, hold on, guys. I got a text message, and I don't know if it's from my boss. And then I will head over to... Okay. Should be there around it. Okay, why are you telling me this? Anyways. La 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 la. let's, oh my gosh, hold on. What the heck? She's so weird. Okay. I wonder if she listens to this podcast. Hi, if you are. Okay, uni. Let's go. Okay. What messages do you have? Let's cut this deck. And boom. Financial constraints. Ooh, people are getting crazy with their money. Let's see what's going on. I remember I got this. It's so funny. I got this card. I only got this card once, and it was a while ago. And it was like, my question I asked was like pertaining to money. It's like, because I was like kind of frustrated with like the little amount of money I had, I guess, at the time. And yeah, I pulled this card. And it's like financial constraints. Like, yeah, okay, thanks for the update. I knew already. Okay, so this card, it shows like an open wardrobe, and then there's like cobwebs in it, and there's like nothing in it. There's like 2 coins and then like an open book, but it's like super old and webby, and there's nothing in it really. So this means restrictions concerning money. This card shows an old-fashioned safe with little money, but lots of cobwebs and dust. Money may be tight at this time, so rein in your spending and be circumspect about the financial requirements in your life. This is not a time of indulgence, so be aware of what's really important and consciously choose your expenditures. What was I gonna say? Expenditures. Yeah, expenditures. That's the word. I don't know what it was. It was like expenditures or something. Oh my god. There's a big difference between what you need and what you want. This card is telling you to take care of your needs and bide your time. Things will get better, but for now, be willing to live more conservatively and always value the money and the good things you already have. Okay, so I feel like, I don't know. I feel like this card, you guys probably are just like, you know, getting crazy with your money. Either that, okay, like during this time, like a lot of us may not be working, or, you know, we're collecting unemployment or something like that. And, you know, I know here in the US, because a lot of my listeners are not in the US, in the US, they cut, you know, the amount, the extra 600 or whatever to like 200 a week for unemployment. I think we're getting another stimulus check, but I think that'll pretty much be it. We're kind of like in I feel like we're in the last phase of coronavirus. I think they're over exaggerating the numbers at this point, and it's not really that crazy anymore. Maybe in Florida or something, but in California, they're making it seem like it's a hotspot still. I don't feel like it's a hotspot still. Like, everybody's pretty much doing whatever they're doing regularly. But I do feel like, you know, maybe we're not working as much, but we feel like we have money. So like, we're just, you know, spending it like whateverly, but we're not really, you know, being conservative with it. Especially in times like this, like you can't just be like spending money like that. You know, I feel like I'm talking to myself, honestly, because like, I'm like, man, like whatever, the universe has my back either way. So like, I'm gonna spend money and I'm gonna get it right back. But okay, so this kind of goes against, you know, the whole law of attraction thing. Like, okay, be conservative with your money. Know what you want to, like, know what you need. Spend only what you need, and things that you want, like, all right, guys, you can restrain yourself a little bit. Like, you don't have to go around and, you know, just get everything you want. Like, live a little more humbly, right? Simplicity, you know, refrain from the materialism just for a little bit, all right? Or maybe it could just be like you're drowning yourself in that, and this card is like a warning to chill out a little bit, you know? You never know what could happen, honestly. You know, you could think like, oh, I have all this money and, you know, I'll spend it willingly. But then, you know, something may happen where you have to invest a lot of money, or it's kind of like an emergency situation and you don't have that money because you were too busy spending it on food or like things that you didn't really need. It could really mean anything, but, I feel like that was like a card for me. It was like, chill out. I feel like I just like, okay, so I just bought, yesterday I was looking for, like an altar table, because I kind of have it like on my old dining room table with like these stumps. I don't know, it's like unsturdy and I just don't like it. So I was looking at altars, and I bought this one from a Colombian artisan, and it was like, I don't know how much it was, like $130. And I read the dimensions wrong. I thought they were inches, but it was centimeters. So it was way smaller than I thought. So, but I bought it on Etsy. So I have to wait until like they process, like not they process it, but like they see the order first for them to cancel it. So I got like that much money taken out of my account, and I bought another like altar table thing on top of that. So it was like twice the payment. I don't know. But either way, it's just like, I was just like, oh, whatever, like I have the money. But like you never know what may happen. Like something crazy may happen, and then I need all that money. But it's just an example. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm scared. No, I'm just giving an example, guys. But anyways, here's the affirmation for you guys for this card. If you guys want to write it down, here it is. I can move through any cycle with dignity and awareness. I can move through any cycle with dignity and awareness. I like that. I am open to receiving increasing wealth. I am open to receiving increasing wealth. Money moves to and through my life, bringing benefits to all. Money moves to and through my life, bringing benefits to all. And this kind of goes with what I was saying before with like, I have money so I can just spend it. The universe always has my back. I feel like not the more you spend, the more you get back, but the more open you are to letting go of your money, the more open you are to receiving money. If you just constrict yourself of like, oh, I can't spend this much because of this, because of that, you're coming from a place of lack, that you don't have enough. So you'll never have enough because you're not open to the willingness of having a large amount, I guess you can say. And I noticed that, the more money I started being open with, a lot of money started coming into my life randomly from like random sources. Honestly, like I would find money on the floor. I found like a new source of income. Somebody would just pay me for something, for doing something for them. It was just like random things would come into my life. And I feel like that's kind of how it works. If you're more open to letting money flow, then it'll come into your life easily. But without wasting time, let's jump into this episode. Now, a little bit of narcissism. Let me go in my notes. Okay, so narcissism. What is narcissism? Now, narcissism is kind of like, it's the easiest way to put it is having a big ego. Now, if you ever heard the Beyonce song, I don't even know what it's called, but she talks about like, she's like, such a big I don't even know if that's a Beyonce song, but it's a song that's like, such a big ego. I don't know if that's Beyonce. I think it is, but I don't know. It's kind of about like just feeling like you're better than everyone else, or that you're very entitled, that you don't deserve like certain types of disrespect, I guess you can say. Like you're kind of like the king of the world. But there are different types of narcissism where a lot of people don't fully act like that in person, but they feel like that on the inside. So narcissism is a normal part of human behavior and emotional development. We look for validation in our parents growing up and our peers when we're older in order to build healthy self-esteem. So narcissism is a trait. It is a personality trait. Now, there is something called narcissistic personality disorder, which we won't really talk about, just because, that's more of a psychology thing, and honestly, I don't want to dive that deep into it, but that is a personality disorder where it's their whole life, where they're destroying their life, they're destroying other people's life, and it's a very big problem in this person's life, or like they don't feel like it, but other people clearly see that it's a huge problem. That is narcissistic personality disorder, where it's actually like ruining your life. But narcissism, some people might be more narcissistic than other people. And I feel like all of this comes with a huge ego, has to do with ego, but it also does have to do a lot with how we grew up, how we were raised. Most of the time it's because of their parents or their parenting style. It was either overvaluing or undervaluing. So when you were growing up, they probably for example, your parents probably like said, oh, you're the best, like you deserve this, and gave them everything. They probably spoiled you, like, oh, you deserve this, you deserve that. And it kind of makes you grow up with the feeling that, you know, you deserve everything, that everything's just gonna come to you easily. Or it could be undervaluing, where, you know, they don't feel like you deserve everything. You're kind of put down, and you don't get anything, and you're kind of just undervalued. You can grow up to want to have that amount of value, to want everything, to feel like you deserve everything, to kind of fill that void that was there when you were growing up. So another one is that it's a false front to protect ego. So again, this is where ego comes in, where you want to protect yourself. You may be very I want to say shielding, or kind of like defensive. There you go, that's the word, defensive of yourself. So maybe somebody like may insult you, or you feel offended by something. Maybe they're not being offensive, but you feel offended. You know, this can come out in a way where, you know, you want to protect yourself, you want to protect your ego, your self-image. So that is another way, guys. Now, there are different types of narcissism. I think there's like 4 main types. Now, okay, I learned these from like different sources. So it's kind of like, I think there's like 2 main things, like 2 main parts, and then like 4 main types. I don't know. But anyways, I'll just tell you what I have. So there's antisocial and prosocial. Now, antisocial is misusing or exploiting relationships for personal benefit. Often an extremely difficult and self-centered person who expects excessive gratification from others. So this kind of sounds like the first main type, which is grandiose. This antisocial type part sounds like exploiting relationships. Like it's very, yeah, I feel like this is very grandiose. This is a very self-centered person. They want excessive gratification from people for things that they do. They exploit relationships for personal benefits, just so they can like kind of move up in the world or in society, or like in a social thing, social scene. So, for example, they can, you know, if you're friends with, or you have a relationship with somebody like this, and, you know, you go to a party and they kind of talk down on you to make themselves seem better to other people. This is very antisocial type of narcissism. And they expect excessive gratification from others, often very self-centered. Now, there is prosocial, for people who strive to do good deeds in order to make people satisfied with them. They want to be liked and appreciated. Now, this also reminds me of communal narcissism, which is the 4th type. So I guess these are like the 2 main types, antisocial and prosocial, and then we kind of break it down into four different types. So the prosocial we'll talk more about in the communal narcissism. So moving on to the first type, we already mentioned grandiose. It's very out there. It's blatant. You can tell that they're a narcissist. You don't even have to know about types of narcissism to know that this person is very self-centered. They're vain. They want the world to revolve around them. And, you know, they're not afraid to show it. Not that they admit that they're a narcissist, because most of the time, guys, if there's a narcissist in your life, they will not recognize that they are a narcissist. If you personally, and you're listening to this, are a narcissist, you probably do not think you are a narcissist, because it is your ego that is trying to defend itself from, you know, because, you know, narcissist, like, it's, right now, you know, you would think, like, oh, narcissism is bad. It's not bad, okay? Nothing is good or bad ever. That's the main thing I want to talk about on my podcast all the time. Do never judge anything by good or bad, positive or negative. It just is. But it is a personality trait. We all have it. You can define it as ego if it's as small as it is in your personality, right? So, sorry, I went too in, and then I forgot what I was saying. So, yeah, you might not know that you are a narcissist. If you think you might possibly be, ask somebody, do I have these type of traits? You know, do I seem like a narcissist to you? And maybe other people will tell you. Maybe people will be honest and say, yeah, well, you do kind of sound like that a little. Maybe when you do this, maybe when you do that. And if you automatically get offensive, that is ego. That is probably your narcissistic trait. So be open to hearing this stuff from other people. Be open and be willing to to kind of find a balance, to find a way to fix, you know, these things in your relationship. So grandiose, yes, very out there, very vain, very self-centered, just kind of annoying. Like, you don't really want to be around them. The world revolves around them. They're very selfish, and you know, that kind of sounds, it just sounds annoying. Now the second type is malignant narcissist. I think malignant, I think that's how you pronounce it. Malignant. It's probably malignant. Malignant narcissists do not benefit anything. Doesn't do anything for your benefit. Yeah, doesn't do anything for your benefit. Now, the malignant narcissist is grandiose, but mean about it. Mean. So it's kind of like a more like evil version of the grandiose narcissist. Now, they can easily lash out on you for nothing, for no reason. They'll destroy others in order to make themselves seem better. See what I mentioned with the grandiose? These people can have long-term relationships but have unstable behavior. I feel like we know a lot of people like this, where you have to watch what you have to say. You know, you can't say certain things or do certain things just because you know their triggers or what's going to happen. You're kind of used to it. Can be aggressive if they feel like their image is being threatened. They can feel very, get very angry easily, kind of like you see an uprising in the conversation, in the argument. If they feel like their image is being, broken and their ego's being attacked and they feel like they're being attacked, they can get very, not, maybe even violent, but very aggressive, very like loud spoken, and just feel like they're protecting something that doesn't even need protecting. Even casual remarks can threaten them. They're very defensive of their self-image. You feel like you're walking on eggshells with them. You really don't know what to do or to say or how to act around them because you're scared they're going to lash out or insult you or just come at you. This is the malignant narcissist. This is probably like the worst type, honestly. Like, pretty much. So yes, that is probably like the most aggressive type. Now the third type is the covert or vulnerable narcissist, mostly referred to as covert narcissists. They feel like they're superior, but not so blatantly. They're not very much like the malignant or the grandiose, very out there. They're self-absorbed, and they maintain an artificially inflated sense of self. Oh my gosh. Maintain an artificially inflated sense of self. They feel like they deserve more than they're given. They chronically feel victimized. The world doesn't see how special they are. They're usually prone to depression, and they also don't empathize. So a lot of these people, they can be diagnosed with depression. With depression, they can feel depressed all the time because they don't feel like they're getting as much as they deserve. They have this inflated sense of self. They have this high image of themselves, but they often feel victimized, that people don't see how special they are, that they don't see how special or how amazing this person is, all the good things that they do. It's kind of like if somebody's like, yeah, I'm really good at doing this, and I'm amazing at this, but I guess it's not my time, or society doesn't really value stuff like that anymore. I'm a great artist, but nobody really looks at art anymore, or just they have this high image of themselves, but victimized because everybody else doesn't really see it. A lot of people can have all these types mixed together. They can also be malignant. They could also be covert. I know. Trust me, guys. I know people that are like this. So they feel victimized. They feel like the world doesn't see how amazing they are. And the fourth type is the communal narcissist. Now they do all this stuff. They'll donate money. They'll help feed the hungry, and they'll feed the animals and save the children and all that stuff. but they want you to recognize it. They want you to see it. They're like, look at all the great things I do. They're very giving, but they need that recognition. They seek lots of validation from other people. They want to be seen as a good person. They want to be seen as somebody who does great things, who helps people, who's a very giving, kind, nice person. But that's also very false. That's very much ego. They just want their ego to be fed. So that's another type of narcissism. Those are the 4 types of narcissism, the main types of narcissism. The grandiose, the malignant, which is just a meaner version of grandiose, and covert. They're very self-absorbed, but often victimized, that people don't see how amazing they are. And the communal, who will do lots of great things for the community, but they want you to recognize it, and they want that validation from it. So yeah, those were the main 4 types. I know people, guys. I also screenshotted some stuff from a narcissist page, like kind of red flags for you guys. Let's see. Okay, this is narcissists at toxic workplaces. This could be a boss, this could be coworkers. Narcissistic and sociopathic employees climb the corporate ladder by showing their best self-image to managers while bullying and sabotaging coworkers they are threatened by in covert ways. Thankfully, when empathetic and talented individuals leave toxic workplaces, they often become even more abundant and successful than those who bullied them. So they'll sabotage probably their coworkers and bully them and stuff, just to make themselves seem better to their managers or their higher ups. Another thing I screenshotted was the narcissist holds themselves calm, easygoing, and well composed while driving you to the brink of sheer madness. Those who observe this from the outside see you as the psychotic one and the narcissist as unfortunate level-headed victim. This reversed illusion was part of their grand plan all along. Now, this kind of reminds me of my dad. Now, I'm not saying he's a narcissist, if you're listening to this or anything. But I remember when I was younger and my parents would argue, he would start these arguments, or not that he would start arguments, he would just be on argue with my mom or even with me, right? And he'd be very like, blah, 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 blah. But then once you get upset and once you get crazy back, and you're arguing back, he's super calm, like, why are you acting like this? But I don't understand. Like, but you see the way you're acting? Can you please calm down? Like, acting like he's the one who didn't start the argument. He was the one who acting crazy, and he makes you feel crazy because you're like, what the heck? But you're doing this and you're doing that and you're blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but calm down. Why? Do you see the way you're acting? Like, but he's the one who's kind of manipulating the argument. This is probably a very popular thing that people do. Here are some traits of the narcissistic parent. They could be neglectful, lack of interest or empathy. They don't really care about what you're doing, they're not very interested. They try to compete with you. They always have to kind of one-up you in a way. I've seen this happen. I've never had this to happen to me personally, but I've seen it happen between parent and child, where, they have to be better than the other person, or like, oh yeah, well, I did this by this age and blah, blah, like, that doesn't really matter. They attempt to manipulate with promises of love and support. So this also kind of reminds me of when I would I feel like I'm saying my dad's a narcissist. Maybe he is. Who knows? Maybe I'm realizing it now. Attempt to manipulate you with promises of support and love. So not specifically promises of support and love, but it's kind of like manipulate you with things to do certain things, right? So in this case, it says manipulate you with promises. So though I guess they'll manipulate you by acting like, they support you and they love you, probably so they can benefit from it, so they can get something out of you, that you can help them with something, or just anything like that, of that sort. The inability to realize, apologize, or take responsibility for their mistakes. Oh, this is a big one. They will never admit that they're wrong. They will not apologize or take responsibility for whatever they've done, or even realize that they've done something wrong. They'll probably try to point fingers or try to blame it on somebody else. They're highly critical and compare you to other siblings through passive aggressive comments, subtle behaviors, or explicit statements and actions. They're highly critical and compare you to other siblings. This is horrible, guys. This is a horrible trait in a parent. If you are a parent, do not do this, okay? You don't want to compare your children to other children. Like, you're literally just pushing them to compete with each other or hate each other or not have a good relationship because they're always trying to one-up each other so that they can impress you as a parent. That's completely manipulative, and don't do that, okay? Don't do that. That's upsetting to even talk about. Like, don't even do that. That's probably the worst thing you can do. They grow angry, jealous, or possessive at signs of independence. They'll try to bring you down, probably. Like, oh, you need me. Like, look at this. You can't even feed yourself. You can't even clean your room. You can't even do this. You can't even do that. They'll probably try to bring you down. And by that, you can grow up feeling like you can't do anything, that you don't deserve anything, that you don't have the ability to take care of yourself, that you need to rely on somebody else, that you're codependent, that you can't do things for yourself or be on your own. They live through us and our own achievements. Ooh, do I know this as personally? Live through us and our own and they own our achievements. So they'll take credit for all the good things that you have done. Now, I have dated someone who was practically forced into doing a sport that he did not want to do. He really loved doing basketball, but he was really good at wrestling, and his parents knew he was good at wrestling, so I guess that's why they try to push him so much. But I also felt like they were trying to live vicariously through him. You know, they pushed him so much into it where, you know, he had to drop weight to make certain weight classes. They wouldn't feed him. Well, they would starve him to death, but he practically couldn't eat because he had to make certain weights. He'd have to go like all these places, all this stuff, and like he did it because, you know, he was really good at it and he could have went somewhere with it. And they saw that, you know, they wanted him to get, you know, the best college tuition with it, blah, 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 get into like the best college. But I felt like, and they would put him down. They wouldn't even like let him play basketball. They would put him down for like doing other stuff instead of wrestling, like instead of doing, like, I guess put him down for doing everything else but wrestling. And I felt like they would take, you know, they were like, oh, well, I, you know, helped him train, blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe they took credit for all the good stuff that he did. I feel like a lot of parents do that. You know, they try to take the achievement away from you and put it on them, right? So this is another one. The narcissistic parent sounds like, this is stuff they may say. Why can't you be as good as blah, blah, blah? Could be another sibling. I do everything for you, and what do I get? This is after a child's accomplishment. I knew I did something right. See, they're taking credit for things that you do. If you don't study this, I won't support you. What did you get me? What did you get me? What did you get me? Oh, this could be like for a present, I guess. Like, oh, what did you get me? I don't know. I don't get that one. What did you get me? I guess, like, I don't know. Probably. You're just not good, smart, or pretty enough. This is like, this could be very manipulative. I remember when I was younger, my dad would say stuff like, what are you, stupid? Or, I think this is probably narcissistic trait in him, honestly. Like, what are you, stupid? Or maybe, I don't think he would ever say you're not smart enough or good enough, but just stuff like that, kind of. I'd have nothing to live for without you. I'd have nothing to live for without you. Ooh, I've heard this. We're much better than them. You'll get a great job and support me financially. Oh my God, I feel like a lot of parents nowadays sell their kids to like social media and like the industries and modeling and stuff just so they can live off their kids. I feel like that's a huge narcissistic trait. Next, these are relationship red flags and green flags. Now, relationship red flags, they never apologize. They have lots of crazy exes. Being mean and cruel when arguing. They can be insulting. They isolate you from others. They have anger issues. They lie a lot. They're over the top jealous. They're dismissive of your wants and needs, and they probably focus more on what they want and what they need. These are red flags in relationships. Now, some relationship green flags are they show interest in your hobbies. They offer emotional support. They're open to communication. They value honesty. You resolve and make up after conflict. They talk fondly of you to others. You guys laugh together. They don't pressure you into doing things. So those are a couple of things that I had grabbed from a narcissistic page on Instagram. If you guys want to follow this page, it is called this is on Instagram. It is narcissist.sociopath.awareness, but with only one S and the number 2. So narcissist.sociopath.awareness, but with only one S at the end and the number 2. So yeah, guys, that was just kind of a brief overview of what narcissism is and how you can kind of identify a narcissist in your life and some traits. Maybe you recognize some traits within yourself. Maybe you did not at all because you're a narcissist yourself. Or maybe you're not. Who knows? Ask your peers. Ask people who know you closely. If any of this stuff sounds like you. And maybe you can, work on it with people. But just remember, guys, that you are not better than anybody else. Come on, that's the number one thing I want to say, is that you're never going to be better than anybody else. Okay, we are just humans. What defines better? What defines worse? We have these social images that are put on us by the media, by school, by society. And I was thinking a lot about that yesterday, about how society really shapes us, how we do things, how we see ourselves, how we feel, and it's really pushed upon us. A lot of the stuff that I learned from about this narcissist stuff, it's by Med Circle on YouTube, and a psychologist named Dr. Rabani. And she said a quote. I'm gonna quote her. She said, if I were to write a book on narcissism, it would be the how-to guide on how to achieve in the new world order. That's crazy, because that's what it is. Our society, everything is based on self-image now. We promote ourselves on social media. It's all based on image. You see these models, you see, it's just, they kind of show us how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to do things. We see all these beautiful people, all these people doing great things, and they kind of force you to want to achieve towards that, or to try to be like these people. And in order to do that, a lot of people who have a high self-image, who have high self-esteem, get further ahead in life in these situations, because they're very more strong-willed. Now, I also wanted to talk about that, because there's a difference between, being narcissistic, being egotistical, and having a high self-image by being, positive about yourself too. So don't mistake having a big ego for having a lot of self-appreciation or self-love, or having a high not a high self-image, but thinking good about yourself. So in that quote, it would be a how-to guide to achieve in the new world order. If you want, because this is the new world order, guys, it's in our face. They're not forcing us into doing things, but they practically are. And I feel like I'm seeing that more now with the riots, with the coronavirus, how much we are actually controlled, and how the media actually does control how we think and what we do. And I don't even want to get into it now, but I'm seeing way more division now than I was before all of this started, really. Before any of the riots and all that. I'm seeing it more from the other side, the side that we're supposed to be on. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it too much, because it's annoying. I'm not going to talk about it in this episode because it's a completely different topic. But I am seeing a lot of division, and I am seeing that we are easily being controlled by what we see in the media and social media, and it's just it's the new world order, guys. And this is why we need to learn to think for ourselves, to feel for ourselves. This is why we need self-actualization, self-realization, self-awareness. This is why we need this, so we are not easily controlled, so we are aware, so we know what we're doing, so we know how we personally feel, how we personally view things, instead of being manipulated on how we should do things, how we should see things, how we should feel about things. So anyways, to get ahead in this new world order without having that egotistical, without having those narcissistic traits, without being this very vain high image person, I guess you can say, it's knowing your worth, but not thinking that you're better than anybody else, that you're worth more than somebody else, that your life is worth more than somebody else's life, right? So that's kind of the division, I would say. These people who have this grandiose kind of mentality, they feel like they're better than everybody else. They may not admit it, but they do feel like they are better than somebody who has less than them or has achieved less than them. They might have all these college degrees or went to the best college or done this or did that, and kind of look down or talk down on other people who who may not have that much credentials or whatever. So there's that, and then there's knowing your worth, knowing you can achieve great things, knowing that you can be the CEO of a company, that you can rule the world, but that everybody else also has the potential to, and that everybody else is equally as human as you, and you can't put yourself above anybody else. You know your worth, and you know everybody else's worth, but you take that worth of yourself, and it makes you want to do better. It makes you do better because you know what you can achieve. You know all the things that you can do. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick, just to kind of don't think that, if you don't have a big ego or whatever, that you won't really excel. That's completely not the case. Know your worth, know you can achieve anything, and you can achieve anything. Just don't put yourself above others and think that you're better than anybody else. So that is all I wanted to talk about this week. I'm going to drop this episode now. Well, I'm not going to drop the episode. Well, I'm going to stop doing the episode right now because I do have to get ready for work or just help out my boss with some few stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm so sorry I skipped last week, but I promise I'm going to be coming at you with some great episodes. If this was your first episode, this is an amazing podcast where we talk about self-awareness, self-actualization, esoteric knowledge, spiritual stuff, and law of attraction, self-improvement, how to become better, how to become a superhero, how to gain this power that we have in this human experience, and we talk about super cool stuff. I want to start talking about some conspiracy theories. I want to hit you guys with a bunch of stuff. I'm going to be video editing probably for the next 2 weeks. I have this vlog, maybe not the next 2 weeks, but probably all next week, this whole weekend. I just got back from Pennsylvania. I have a lot of footage to edit. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is World of Natalia. My Instagram is Natalia of Earth. My blog is The Writings of Natalia. I need one singular thing. I really like The Writings of Natalia. I do want to keep my, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I gotta figure that out. I want to think of one thing. World of Natalia is the YouTube. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm not gonna figure it out while I'm recording. But anyways, World of Natalia is YouTube. The Writings of Natalia is WordPress, my blog. Which is my website. You could find everything on there. You could find my photography, you could find the podcast, you could find my writings, my poetry, my ebooks, my YouTube. You could find everything on there, guys. And then Instagram is Natalia of Earth. You could contact me there if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for episodes. Literally, guys, if you want me to talk about anything, feel free to DM me, and I will do some research, and I will talk about it and give my opinion, how I view stuff and my personal experiences. yeah, anything. Feel free to DM me. You can write to me on Anchor, I think. You can like voice message. I don't really know how that works. But continue to support me, guys. You can also like subscribe on Anchor, like support the podcast by like doing like a month. I don't know if you can pay like a minimum amount or something, but you can pay a certain amount every month to support the podcast. It's kind of like a monthly subscription. But I am going to go in on the podcast. I'm going to focus a lot on this podcast and the YouTube mainly just because of video editing, and I love video editing. I may be getting a promotion in my job at the yoga studio, so I'm very excited about that. I'm going to talk to my boss today and construct a great schedule, so I'll be able to fit my work, to fit my videos, and focus on this podcast as well. Those are going to be the main 3 things I'm focusing on. I really do want to get back into writing. I'm thinking about a zine, but I always say that and then I really don't do anything. So don't hold me to that, but I am contemplating it. I do want to do some more writing stuff. Maybe another ebook, who knows. I'll probably drop a zine though. Eventually, guys. Not anytime soon. I'm mostly focusing on videos right now and this podcast. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week. If this relates to you in any way, feel free to let me know. Feel free to support me. Subscribe, follow. I think if you subscribe to the podcast or whatever, you'll get notifications every time I post. This is a weekly podcast that airs every Friday. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. I love you all. Peace.